Let me ask you something powerful right now. Have you ever noticed how some moments in life quietly change everything? Not with fireworks, not with drama, but with a simple question. Because love rarely announces itself loudly. Real love whispers first. And if you're not listening, you miss it. Most women are trained to look for actions, texts, attention, or promises. And yes, those matter. But what if I told you that the clearest sign a man is falling in love doesn't come from what he does, but from what he asks? Questions are not random. Questions are investments. A man never asks deeply unless he's emotionally stepping forward. Love often reveals itself through curiosity, not compliments, and this is where most people misunderstand what real emotional connection looks like. Compliments are easy. Anyone can say you look beautiful. Anyone can admire your smile. Anyone can enjoy your presence in the moment. But curiosity takes effort, attention, and emotional risk. When a man begins to ask meaningful questions, he is doing something far more powerful than praising you. He is leaning in emotionally. He is saying without saying it that who you are matters more than how you appear. Curiosity is the bridge between attraction and attachment. Attraction is instant and physical, but curiosity is intentional. It means he is no longer satisfied with the surface. He wants to understand how you think, what you value, what shapes your decisions, and what makes you feel alive or afraid. This shift does not happen by accident. A man does not become curious unless something inside him is awakening. He is no longer just reacting to you. He is studying you, learning you, and slowly weaving you into his emotional world. Most women miss this because they are waiting for grand gestures or dramatic confessions. But love rarely starts loud. It starts quietly, with attention. When he asks about your opinions, your experiences, your dreams, he is investing mental and emotional energy. And where energy goes, emotion grows. Curiosity creates emotional safety because asking questions requires vulnerability. It means he is willing to listen, not just speak. It means your thoughts matter enough for him to pause and absorb them. Here is the deeper truth. Curiosity is how the brain bonds. When someone genuinely wants to know you, your nervous system relaxes. You feel seen, not just desired. This is why meaningful questions feel different than casual conversation. They slow time. They create connection. They make you feel valued beyond the moment. That feeling is not accidental. It is biology and psychology working together to build attachment. And this is why curiosity is a stronger signal than compliments. Compliments can exist without commitment. Curiosity cannot. You do not invest curiosity in something you plan to lose. You invest it in something you want to understand, protect, and potentially grow with. When he asks questions that help him know how to show up better, how to support you, or how to align with you, he is already emotionally stepping into a deeper role. The power for you is awareness. When you recognize curiosity as a sign of emotional movement, you stop chasing validation and start recognizing intention. You learn to listen differently. You understand that love is not always declared. It is demonstrated through attention and interest. And once you see this clearly, you no longer feel confused or uncertain. You feel grounded, confident, and emotionally intelligent. Because real love does not shout to be noticed. It leans forward, asks questions, and listens carefully. Love often reveals itself through curiosity, not compliments. When a man is truly falling in love, his attention shifts from performing to understanding. Compliments are easy, they cost nothing, and they can be given without emotional risk. Curiosity is different. Curiosity requires presence. It requires him to slow down, listen, and care about what's happening beneath the surface. When he asks thoughtful questions about how you think, what you value, and why certain things matter to you, he's not filling silence. He's building connection. This kind of curiosity means your mind has become important to him, not just your appearance or the moment you share. It's a signal that he wants to know how you see the world, because on a deep level, he's wondering if his world could someday include yours. Many women overlook this because it doesn't feel dramatic, but this is how emotional bonds are formed. Love grows when someone wants to understand you, not just enjoy you. What he asks shows where he intends to go with you. Questions are windows into intention. A man who is only living in the present asks questions that stay in the present. But when his feelings deepen, his questions start pointing forward. He asks about your dreams, your fears, your plans, and what fulfillment looks like to you. These questions are not accidental. They reveal that he's mentally placing you into his future, even if he hasn't said it out loud yet. This is where awareness becomes powerful. When you recognize this, you stop searching for reassurance in constant texting or grand gestures. You begin to see the quiet evidence of emotional investment. His questions become bridges between who you are now and who you could become together. This is why paying attention to what he asks is more important than analyzing what he promises. Promises can be spoken without commitment, but questions require emotional presence. And emotional presence is the foundation of real love. Love often reveals itself through curiosity, not compliments. When a man begins to fall in love, his attention shifts from trying to impress you to trying to understand you. Compliments are easy, they cost nothing and require little emotional risk. Curiosity, however, is different. It requires presence. It requires listening. When he asks thoughtful questions about your values, your fears, your dreams, he is opening a door to emotional intimacy. This is his way of saying without words that you matter beyond the moment. Many women overlook this because it doesn't feel dramatic, but real love is rarely dramatic at first. It is quiet, focused, and intentional. When curiosity replaces surface-level talk, connection begins to replace attraction, and that is where love starts to grow. The right questions signal emotional investment, not casual interest. A man who is emotionally invested does not waste his questions. He asks with purpose, even if he doesn't consciously realize it. When he wants to know how you think, how you react under pressure, or what you've learned from your past, he is subconsciously evaluating compatibility and emotional safety. Casual interest seeks entertainment. Emotional investment seeks stability and meaning. This is a critical difference. When you recognize this, you stop confusing mixed signals with uncertainty. His questions are signals. They show effort, intention, and a desire to build something real. Emotional investment shows up not in grand gestures, but in consistent curiosity about who you truly are. Questions are gateways to emotional safety and future vision. When a man begins asking about your future, your goals, or what fulfillment looks like to you, he is doing more than making conversation. He is imagining. He is projecting forward. This is one of the strongest indicators of love forming, yet it is one of the most misunderstood. Many women dismiss these questions as casual or polite, but they are not. A man does not think ahead with someone he sees as temporary. These questions mean he is checking alignment, not just attraction. He is asking himself if your paths can walk together, if your visions can coexist, if your lives can grow side by side. Emotional safety is built when someone wants to understand where you are going, not just where you are now. And love deepens when two people feel safe imagining a shared future, even before they are ready to name it. When you learn to recognize these moments, everything changes. You stop chasing reassurance and start recognizing intention. You stop waiting for dramatic confessions and start noticing quiet consistency. Because love does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it simply asks the right questions and waits to see if you are listening. Love often reveals itself through curiosity, not compliments. When a man begins to fall in love, his attention shifts from impressing you to understanding you. Compliments are easy, they cost nothing, and they can be given without emotional risk. Curiosity, however, requires presence. When he asks thoughtful questions, he is mentally and emotionally leaning in. He wants to know how you think, what excites you, what scares you, and what shapes your decisions. This is the moment many women overlook because it feels subtle. But subtle does not mean insignificant. Curiosity is the doorway to emotional intimacy, and emotional intimacy is where real love is born. The man who asks because he genuinely wants to know you is already investing emotionally, whether he realizes it or not. The right questions signal emotional investment, not casual interest. Casual interest stays light because it wants convenience, not connection. Emotional investment goes deeper because it seeks meaning. When a man asks questions that require thought, reflection, or vulnerability, he is unconsciously testing emotional compatibility. He's asking himself if you feel safe, if you feel familiar, if you feel like home. These questions are not random. They are emotional checkpoints. He is gauging whether opening his heart further will be worth the risk. Many women dismiss these moments as conversation, but in reality, these questions are emotional actions. They are steps forward, not words in the air. Men fall in love first with understanding, not attraction alone. Attraction opens the door, but understanding makes a man stay. When he asks about your values, your struggles, or how you see the world, he is trying to understand how your inner world works. This understanding gives him emotional grounding. It allows him to imagine connection beyond the present moment. Without understanding, attraction fades. With understanding, attachment forms. This is why questions that explore your mindset, your lessons, and your growth are so powerful. They signal that he is no longer thinking short term. He is beginning to emotionally integrate you into his life. What he asks shows where he intends to go with you. Questions about your future, your goals, or your idea of happiness are not innocent. They are directional. A man does not explore the future unless he is considering it. Even if he is not ready to label his feelings, his questions reveal his intentions before his words do. He is subconsciously checking alignment, possibility, and emotional safety. When you learn to recognize this, you stop chasing clarity and start receiving it. Because love always leaves clues, and the clearest clues are found in the questions he can't stop asking. Love rarely arrives with loud declarations. Most of the time, it shows up quietly, through curiosity. When a man begins to fall in love, his mind shifts from impressing you to understanding you. His questions become more intentional because he's no longer trying to win a moment. He's trying to understand a person. This is where many women get confused because they're listening for compliments while love is revealing itself through curiosity. Questions are emotional investments, and no one invests emotionally unless their heart is involved. One of the strongest signs of growing love is when his questions move beyond the surface and into your inner world. When he asks about your values, your passions, what excites you or frustrates you, he's not filling silence. He's building connection. At this stage, he's unconsciously asking himself if he can relate to you on a deeper level. Attraction pulls him closer, but understanding is what anchors him. This is the moment where emotional bonding begins to replace casual interest. Another powerful indicator is when he asks about your past, especially your struggles. This takes courage. Men don't naturally dive into emotional history unless it matters. When he wants to know what hurt you, what shaped you, or what made you stronger, he's learning how to treat you. He's gathering emotional intelligence, not gossip. This shows that he's beginning to care about your emotional safety, not just your presence in his life. Pay close attention when his questions turn toward your. This doesn't always come with big statements or commitments. Sometimes it sounds simple, like asking about your goals, your dreams, or how you imagine your life evolving. This is where love starts looking forward. In his mind, he's checking alignment. He's sensing whether your path and his path could move in the same direction. This is not accidental curiosity. This is emotional planning. The most important lesson is this. What he asks reveals where he's emotionally standing. Men don't ask deep questions out of habit. They ask because something inside them is shifting. When you learn to recognize this, you stop chasing reassurance and start recognizing intention. Awareness changes everything. It gives you calm instead of confusion, clarity instead of doubt. Love doesn't always announce itself with words like forever or commitment. Often, it begins with sincere questions and genuine listening. When a man asks to understand, to protect, and to imagine a future, his heart is already involved, even if he hasn't fully realized it yet. When you see this clearly, you stop missing love when it quietly shows up right in front of you. Love rarely arrives with dramatic declarations or perfect timing. Most of the time, it shows up quietly, disguised as curiosity. When a man begins to fall in love, his attention shifts from impressing you to understanding you. This is where many women get confused because they are taught to look for grand gestures, constant messages, or bold promises. But emotional investment doesn't always shout. It often asks. The questions he chooses reveal what his heart is doing long before his mouth catches up. The right questions are never accidental. They are signals of intention. When a man starts asking about your thoughts, your values, and how you see the world. He is no longer focused on the moment. He is trying to understand your inner landscape. This matters because love is not built on attraction alone. Attraction opens the door, but understanding is what makes someone stay. A man who asks meaningful questions is subconsciously saying that who you are matters more than how you look or what you offer on the surface. Men don't fall in love through logic first. They fall in love through emotional safety. When he asks questions that invite you to open up, he is creating a space where connection can grow. This is not something men do casually. Emotional depth requires vulnerability, and vulnerability only appears when the heart is involved. These questions are his way of leaning in, testing trust, and building a bond that feels real instead of rushed. Another powerful truth is that questions reveal direction. When his curiosity turns toward your past, especially your struggles and lessons, he is learning how to treat you. He wants to know what shaped you, what hurt you, and what helped you heal. This is not about curiosity for gossip. It is about care. A man who wants to love you properly first wants to understand where you've been, so he doesn't repeat what broke you. The most overlooked side of all is when his questions move toward the future. Not in a pressured or dramatic way, but with genuine interest. When he asks about your dreams, your goals, or what fulfillment looks like to you, he is checking alignment. This is where love shifts from emotion to vision. He is unconsciously asking whether your paths can grow together, not just cross for a moment. The real lesson is this. Love doesn't always announce itself with words like forever or commitment. Often, it reveals itself through curiosity, consistency, and care. When you learn to listen to the questions instead of chasing reassurance, you gain clarity. And clarity gives you power. Because the man who is falling in love doesn't just want your time. He wants your world.